Hey viewers, my name's Cara. This is my personal channel, CuteWitch772, and today I want to talk about safe space. This is being pre-recorded, you will see it later, and from the time I'm recording it, the idea actually came to me weeks ago, so this is a long drawn-out process. This came to me when I saw someone on my Facebook friends list shared a quote. I think it was a quote, it was a meme, something, it was some kind of image with words on it. I don't remember who the quote was by or what the quote is, but it was about, I know I'm like really ill-prepared, right? But it's not important exactly what it was. What's important is that it was about safe spaces, and basically what it said was that kids are whiny and that that college kids don't need safe spaces. They need life to challenge them, they need to grow, they need to be challenged, they don't need to be coddled, and they don't need to be given spaces where they can hide from the real world and hide from their problems and hide from challenges. And that really struck me because that is not an accurate description of my understanding of a safe space. So that then got me thinking, is this quote, is this idea derived from someone who maybe doesn't know what the meaning of a safe space is, and this is the inaccurate, stereotypical view of what general society perceives safe spaces to be? Or are there actually places being considered safe spaces that are being put out there as a place where people can just go and kind of be in a bubble and not have to interact with anything in the outside world? So that got me thinking, you know, is this actually what people are using as a safe space, or is this just a misunderstanding of what a safe space is? So I asked people on my Facebook page and on my personal page, and I might put some of the things that were shared on here, but I asked people, what is your idea of a safe space? What do you consider a safe space? And a lot of people talked about people that make them feel safe, people that they can share anything with, that they can go to and be themselves. They talked about specific communities. One of my personal friends talked about her church youth group community where they are free to be who they are and they can talk about anything and they know that they will be supported and listened to. People talked about other kinds of groups that are like that for them, where you just know that people are there to support you and you can talk about whatever you want, you can be whoever you want, you don't have to hide any part of yourself. That's the majority of what I heard from safe spaces. And so I'll just go ahead and share that definitely is an element of what I consider a safe space, or people with whom I feel safe. A safe space to me is a place where you can go to be supported, where you can totally be yourself, where you can talk about anything, but it's a place where if things that are challenging do come up, that you will be allowed to speak honestly about them, that you will be supported through that. It's a place where you know everybody's kind of there for that specific reason, and it's not the place where someone's going to come up to you and start calling you names and insulting you and da-da-da-da. Like, those people aren't there. But even in some cases, if it's like a workshop group or something, it might not be all people you know, and it might be people who disagree with you, and there might be disagreements had in the group, but because it's a safe space, everyone knows they're there for that common purpose, and that if challenging things or disagreements do come up, it will be dealt with in a certain way. There are expectations about behavior, there are expectations about respect. So for example, like the example of safe spaces on college campuses, I think some people think of them as just like, you know, out in the regular world, people might call you mean names, they might make fun of you for whatever your identity is, they might say disrespectful things or do disrespectful things, and in the safe space, that's where you go to get away from those people. To a certain extent, I guess that's true, but in my experience, you're not going there to avoid and pretend like those people don't exist. You're often going there to meet with other people who support you, and those might not all be people within the LGBT community. Straight allies were often, and I know not everybody likes the term ally anymore, but friends who may be straight or whatever else are also there. And it's a place where you can say, I had this experience and it really scared me, it really pissed me off, it really whatever, and you can talk through that and people can listen to you. And if you want advice, you can ask for it and they may offer it. Or if you want to say, it would really make me more comfortable if someone would walk with me so that I don't have, so maybe I feel more comfortable saying something, or, like, I'd like to confront this person and tell them that what they said hurt my feelings. Could you please accompany me? Whatever. Like, it's a place where you go to work out those things that bothered you. You're not just going there to be in a little bubble and, like, be away from everyone and just pretend that it didn't happen. You're working through it. And in other things for me that have been safe space, I actually recently went to another reclaiming workshop, and there was a point that one of the workshop leaders, facilitators, called it a safe space, and I had already been planning on doing this video, and I thought, like, oh, yeah, this is a perfect example of what I mean, because the workshop that I attended was for a tool in the reclaiming tradition called the Iron Pentacle, and it is specifically working with shadow. And it's a workshop that, working through the points of this pentacle and working with different parts of our shadow, is difficult work. It is challenging. It is rough. It is stuff that comes up that you didn't know that you were going to deal with, right? Because that's what shadow is. It's the things that you don't have any idea about yet. And completely unexpected emotions can come up. And so, for example, in that safe space, there are agreements in those kind of groups where, we agree to listen to each other without interrupting, without judging, without just automatically giving advice unless it's asked for. Sometimes people just want you to listen to their story. Another one of my Witch Camp series videos will be about that. The last one in the series actually will be more about that. But it's like, we agree to respect each other, we agree to listen, we agree to be there for support, you agree to ask for consent for different things, like, may I give you a hug? Will you accept a hug right now? Because some people don't want to be touched, some people want that physical comfort, some people don't. That's what makes that a safe space, that everybody's on the same page, we have agreements, there are things. It's not that nothing challenging happens. It's not that you're avoiding the real world. In something like that, it's a lot of stuff to deal with. It is challenging. It is hard stuff. It's, it's going into an exercise thinking, oh, I probably, I have this down. Like, I don't know, like, I'm expecting maybe something will happen, but I don't know what. And like, okay, like, you're going through it and you're like, okay, this is cool. And then all of a sudden, something in the meditation, in the trance, in the exercise, in your own thoughts, whatever it is, something flips a switch and you just lose it and you just start crying, or you want to scream, or you want to dance, or like whatever it is, like something just happened and you want someone to be there to talk to. And you can say, whoa, I just had a really heavy experience. Can you please come with me and help me unpack this? Or, I just need a minute to myself. I need to go outside. I need to ground. I need to eat. I need whatever it is. Just being in that safe space is where you can work with those things, right? Because if I were like in the middle of the living room at my grandma's house for like Christmas or something with my Catholic family and something crazy spiritual like that happened, I would not necessarily feel that were a safe space where I could say, oh my God, you guys, I just had this epiphany about my spirituality, and da-da-da, because they don't want to hear me talk about that, right? So, not that it's an unsafe space, it is my family, and I feel like if I were really upset and I said I just need a minute, they would let me have a minute, but it's not the same kind of place where you can be whoever you want to be and say whatever you need to say, right? Or if I'm like in the middle of the grocery store, that's not a place where where something like that is going to be. So my experience with safe spaces, both in college and in witchcraft and whatever, that kind of thing, is not that it is avoiding anything, is not that it is ignoring or pretending, but that it's a space set aside. It is sacred space in a lot of ways. It is set aside for the purpose of being able to be yourself and whatever you require surrounding that. And it is women's red tent groups that I've gone to. Those are also a safe space. Actually, that was brought up at the beginning, the first go around introduction check-in at the last one that I attended. I specifically said that the reason I love coming to things like that is that I know that no matter what about our different backgrounds, I'm pagan, some of the women there are Christians, some of them are Native American spirituality, Christian, or Native American spirituality and pagan. There are agnostics, there are healers, there are yoga teachers, there are whatever, just knowing that whatever we come from in our own separate lives, knowing that we're all there for the same purpose, which is community with women, and that we're going to support each other and listen to each other. And that actually inspired one of the facilitators of that group to say, yeah, I want to reiterate, this is a safe space. We don't all have the same background, but we are open to letting people be who they are. And when tough stuff happens, we talk about a lot of difficult stuff in those groups, right? We talk about personal experiences and trauma and just shit that you've gone through with your mother or your daughter or your sister or your aunt or anyone else. It doesn't have to be just about the women, but we often talk about women's relationships. But it can be about your relationship, it can be about your career, your spirituality, whatever. We don't just talk about the good stuff, right? It's not a cocktail party. It's not your 10-year high school reunion where you go and tell people everything's great. No, the safe spaces are the places where you go and talk about the hard, tough shit that you deal with in your life, right? So that post really got me thinking, do people just not understand what a safe space is and what it's really for? Or are there people who are actually using their safe spaces as just places to get away from the world and not deal with their problems? And I don't think that there is not a place for that. I think in some cases, depending on what's going on, what you need is to get away and not deal with it for a time. And then there's another time where you can deal with it. So it was just me wondering what was the case there. Is this how people are really using them? Is this a misunderstanding? So now that I've rambled at you, I would like to hear from you about, my voice is cracking. I would like to hear from you about what kind of spaces in your life would you consider safe space, and what is your personal definition of a safe space? A space that makes you feel safe. What do you think of it? I will say also, Cody, who is one of the subs on Pagan Perspective, commented on my post and said that they also referred to it as brave space. It's a space where you can be brave, be yourself, and say the things that need said or whatever. So I thought that was great too, and I forgot to mention it earlier in this video. So anything that you consider safe space, anything that you consider a brave space, what does that mean for you? What does it do for you? What do you get out of that experience? Why do you seek out those spaces? What is it that you need that those kind of spaces provide? And it might be different spaces for different needs, right? So if you're willing to share, I'd like to hear some more about that. And I'm sure anyone who maybe hasn't experienced a safe space would love to hear other people's interpretations of what those spaces can be and what they can do for us. Because if nothing else, if you don't have a physical one, you can always create one online. If you have some friends, I'm sure you have specific friends that you go to and maybe they are your safe space. You could even have a private Facebook group that is your safe space, your brave space, and find out what you need from community and create a community that fulfills that need. So thank you for listening to me ramble about safe/brave space, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I'll see you next time, and until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.